Welcome back, my dear students. In this lecture here, we're going to be finally making use of our instantiation method here, all right, with our other methods, all right? So basically what we're going to be doing is, let me go back to admin underscore content.php, which is inside includes and inside admin, of course, all right? So let me just show you real quick what is it exactly that we're going to be doing. So I'm just going to uncomment this method here, this code. So for example, on this code right here, what we were doing was getting a result set from our table and then looping through it, all right, and getting back an array, right? Well, in this lecture here, what I want to do is get back an object that we can say, you know what, I want the username from the user object. I want the size of it or whatever I want from the object, right? So that's what I want to do. I don't want to have to go through a while loop to get this or to get an array value back. I want to get the object back. So what we're going to be focusing is getting the object back here so we can do whatever we want. That's how you work in object-oriented programming, all right? For that, we're going to have to do a couple things. And I'm going to start by using this function, find this query, because this function is being used by find user by ID and is being used by this. So if we do everything here, then it will work for both of these methods here, okay? So the first thing that we want to do here is we want to create a loop so that we can loop through it and we can use our instantiation method to bring back, all right, to bring back that object and save it into an empty array that we are going to be creating also. If you don't understand exactly what we're doing, don't worry, you're gonna, once we finish it, you're gonna understand it. And like I said before, I'm going to recap on it, all right? So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create an object array. So we want to say the object, and I like to put the THE on all my stuff, the object array. All right, so this array is going to be empty, and we can make it like this or like this, it doesn't matter. All right, so we make the empty array right here, and then what we got to do is super simple. We use a while loop and we just fetch from our table. So we're going to be doing something like this. So we're going to fetch the row, all right, each row, and we're gonna be using that database query there, because actually not the query, the fetch, my SQL fetch actually. So my SQLi right here. Let me just copy this, make it right here. All right, so we are going to be fetching that result set. All right, once we have all those results back, all right, we're gonna get our object array right here. We're gonna assign those values. All right, I'll show you right now. So we got this empty array right here. Let me just put the brackets here. And what you think we are going to be assigning to this object array? What we're gonna be doing is putting in objects with its properties. The whole object is gonna have the properties in there. So we are going to be putting all our objects in here. All right, so we can use the word, because this is a static method right here. All right, so we can use self, and then we can call that method like this, instance. There we go. All right, I'll show you right now exactly what we're doing, but you should see it right now. All right, super simple. All right, and then here all we have to do is return this object array back to the other side. All right, so let me recap on this exactly on what exactly we did. So what we did here, we modified this method right here to, first we created a empty array to put our objects in there. Then we created this loop that fetches our database, our table, and brings back the result set just like this. All right, remember that this is the same loop right here. It brings back results like this from our columns in our table. Then when we get those results, what we did is we used this instantiation method or function, all right, that loops through the object, All right, loops through actually the record, I'm sorry, to the columns and records and assign those to our objects properties. All right, that's all we are doing. We are replacing this value here and this here with our object and the properties. That's all we are doing with this instantiation method. All right, so make sure that you understand how this function, this instantiation method works. Once you understand how that works, you can see that all we're doing here is bringing back the objects and its properties into this array right here. All right, and we are returning it back so that way we can use it here as an array. So we can use a regular loop now to find our objects in our table, inside our database. All right, so hopefully you understand what I'm trying to do here. In the next lecture we're gonna keep building on that, but later on, once I make it work, you're gonna see how everything fits right together with this. All right, so it's a pretty flexible method here, but it's really cool. All right, so know that now we are now returning result sets. We are returning objects, and we can loop through these objects by using a regular loop. We don't have to use especially a while loop anymore with this function, since we are returning back a array with objects. All right, so anyway, thank you so much for watching this lecture. The next lecture is going to be more awesome, and you're doing great. If you're following me and you are understanding, you're doing great. If you're not understanding, don't worry, it's going to click to you, and if it doesn't, just send me a message and I'll fix that. All right, so I see you in the next lecture. Take care, my dear students.